Transmission job not too far away from pulling that thing out of there. A couple of axles and 2 bell housing bolts I got left. Anyway, how you guys doing? We're not here just to discuss the placement of the job on the transmission and the caravan. We're not here for that. We're here for a whole day in the shop. Who knows what can happen? There'll be no creeping around here though, I'll tell you that much. These are all straight-laced, narrow-minded guys. What? Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you're here. Obviously, beautiful day today. The sun is coming up. The clouds are breaking up. We had a lot of moisture in the air last night. My truck's soaking wet this morning as if it rained, but it didn't. That's how humid it is. Although it doesn't feel humid right now. Anyway, weather, brief on the transmission. What else we got? No cars in the parking lot, not a single car. But the grass field here, let me take you guys around for a walk before we get into this day in the shop deal. So you can see what we got. We're waiting on the control panel for the GMC. The Lexus needs a transmission. Dodge Ram, I don't know, but that's been here for a while. I think I fixed it like a month ago and he hasn't picked it up. Little Isuzu pickup they towed in yesterday. Explorer, something about trim. Head gasket, I don't know what's going on with it. That's our junk truck that we use for pushing vehicles and taking garbage and tires. We got a Honda, needs a transmission. Dakota, Joe did the brake lines, he hasn't picked it up. Hyundai needs an engine. Kia needs an engine. I don't know anything about that Durango, it must have got towed in yesterday. That's Donnie's Cadillac he got for his mom. The Nissan needs a whole bunch of work, it's got a flat tire I just noticed. Kia back there needs an engine. Chrysler 300 we fixed a couple weeks ago, he hasn't picked it up. Lexus, I think I worked on that, or is that one Joe did? I think that one's from a couple weeks ago. I don't know why that hasn't been picked up. Donnie's backup car. Dodge Caravan needs a transmission. Motorhome, who knows what that needs. I think they're doing brakes on this. We don't have a single car out in the parking lot, but we got dozens and dozens of them out here in the field, which is usually a bad sign. It means they may not ever go anywhere. They'll be scrapped. I hope not. Let's get in there. Let's get that transmission out of there. We got a salvage transmission to put in there, and we'll see how the rest of the day goes. I'm sure it'll be interesting. We might learn something, me and you, and we'll definitely have some fun doing it. Stay tuned. It's one of the best things of being a tire shop now. There's like tires everywhere. Did you guys see the work I did on my truck? I'll show you. Working on this A-pillar. Probably a little hard to see. Bad lighting. Alright, enough of that. Gotta drain fluid out of this thing before we can remove it. Well, that certainly is burnt. They like you to send them back as cores with no fluid in them, or as little as possible anyway. So once that's finished dripping, I'll just snug the pan bolts back up and we're good. We don't care if it'll leak or not. Oh, that's awesome. One more of those. It's a little easier to separate that than it is to do it all in one piece. Now, I got to get the inner half shaft out. That's the tricky part. Because this exhaust, it's not going to happen. There's 3 bolts holding that center support bearing. I don't know if you guys can see that top one I still got to get. And of course I think the pipe's blocking it. See that son of a gun? That's got some nerve. If I put a socket on it from below, and I put the extension in between the cat and the pipe, I might be able to get it. Oh, there it is. I think I can get it from here. You guys see it? See it under the power steering pump? Right. It's hard to see. But trust me, I'm gonna get my transmission extension. This thing's coming out of there whether it wants to or not. Oh, you guys been drinking again, man. It's early in the day. You gotta lay off the sauce. At least wait till 10, 11 o'clock. Oh man. I already feel like a winner and the day has just begun. Got another problem. The bracket hits the exhaust since I'm trying not to take it out, and it hits the power steering, and I'm trying not to take that out. So I can slide it back quite a ways and get it loose, and then when I take the tranny out, I'm gonna have to fumble with it and kind of leave it laying here, and then as I put the tranny back in, I'll feed it back in, because I'm not touching the exhaust unless I absolutely cannot. If I cannot get the transmission out, that's different. Second stage of the cylinder goes way faster. Out of my way, starter. I don't hear nothing from you. Oh yeah, I got a snap-on tool right here. That'll make it easy. Gravity check, throwing snap-on tools around as if they're free. Yeah, and this is a Schmuckatelli snap-on screwdriver too. I gotta be more careful. I apologize. Okay, I have to get a bigger screwdriver. Nothing gets snap-on, but this is a job for vessel. It's stuck on the dowel. Corrosion and stuff. Oh, there you go. See? Told you vessel was superior to snap-on. Has nothing to do with the fact that the screwdriver is 10 times the size. It's not as funny though. It's all over but the crying. We kept bumping tickets ahead of this transmission job, and they're like, "You're gonna get that done today? Are you gonna get that done today?" I told the customer Monday. I'm like, "Well, you didn't let me start on it until 4:30 on Monday." It's tough, man. It's a rough business, I'm telling you. It is a rough business. There you go. Now I got to kind of roll it around and get the differential to clear. They want you to take that rear subframe out or loosen it. I'm not doing that. I'm going to try to roll the transmission and finagle it. You guys know finagling? Some of you might be old enough to remember finagling. Some of you may be too young to know what finagling is. Basically it means I'm going to find a way to make it work. Part of it's taking this drive shaft out. It clears. See what I'm talking about? Show you guys. Hey, you can see the transmission's backed off about an inch from the block of the engine. So that leaves me enough room now that this will clear, right? But I don't want to pull it out. I want it to be right there where it won't get forgotten, because before I bolt this up now, I've got to slide it back into the transmission a little bit because of the exhaust predicament we're in. The tranny's basically out. Once I get the bell housing to clear the flywheel, it'll come down. I just got to get it to clear the subframe, and I'll have to do a little bit of finagling. We went over that already, didn't we? Alzheimer's. Or early Alzheimer's, at least. That's good. All right, let me get my pry bar and my jiggling hands ready to go. I'll put you guys at a safe distance so you don't get crushed. I hate losing viewers by crushing them. It makes me sad, and I don't want to be sad. By the time you guys are watching this video, we should be over 10,000 subscribers. And that is awesome. I really appreciate the support. I never thought it would happen. I started this YouTube channel just to have some fun, make some videos, and see where it went. And support's been awesome. I really appreciate you guys. And I've learned that crushing my viewers with transmissions doesn't help add subscribers. So I'm pretty smart. So now I'm going to try to roll some weight off of that, and then I should be able to turn it out of there, I think. This is about the point where I like to go around and check for miscellaneous connectors and sensors and things you might have missed, so nothing snaps. This dipstick cap was trying to rip the connector out of there. That's nice. Should have popped that cap off, I guess. Yeah, it's out. Yay! Johnny, tell him what he's won. About ready to put this new replacement salvage transmission in there. It only took a second. I mean, you guys saw how quick that was, right? Well, it was a second for you guys. We're on the home stretch now. I'm hoping to have this done before lunch. We'll see what happens. They got a sweet 88 Isuzu pickup I'm sure is waiting for me. So I might as well get to it and get past it, right? Gotta make sure everything, the way the harness falls when I take the tranny out, as long as I'm not pinching anything on the way up, it should all fall closely back to being in place. You gotta really keep an eye around the bell housing, but there's nothing on this one, luckily. The big thing's clearing the differential on that rear side. I think that should do it. Once I get it up about 2/3 of the way, then I can push it back over that rear subframe. Might need the help of my assistant. It's definitely a little bit of a juggling act. There you go. Ta-da! Now, it's a delicate game of puzzle. Ever build a jigsaw puzzle? Then you can do this. Just that everything's a bit heavier, and you gotta watch your fingers. Get that axle in so I don't miss that. Ta-da! Looks like Katie's getting monster truck tires for her Jeep. Just gonna put those on the stock wheels. Somebody should be over there helping them, huh? I'm doing a transmission. Oh, starter bolts is 16. Sensor guns. Don't worry, we got a mountain wrench for that too. I already tightened it. I'm just checking it. How do you like that? Got to get the one bell housing bolt that's hidden over the axle. We're gonna have this done by lunch. It's only a little after 10. Might need my ratchet for this one. I feel like trying it though. Feel adventurous. Look at that. Quitters never win and winners never quit. They just waste a lot of time not giving up. This one is a tricky one. I had to use this is Icon wobbly and a 16 millimeter Sunex impact swivel. That's done. That's the one I was the most worried about and avoiding the exhaust. The bracket goes on in the rear mount. Then I can take a lot of jacks out of my way. 2 GoPro lockups in a 5-minute time span. That's unusual. Hard reset. The temptation is to put the long bolt through the mount first, but I find it's a lot easier to get the bracket bolts into the transmission first and then use a pry bar to wiggle a hole to line this up after, rather than doing 3 bolts, if that makes sense. But I got a lot of these from the top before, if you remember. They're all started. Process. The phone's ringing and the tires are here. That's a hard decision. Paul's not going to answer the phone. He'll play with Katie's tires instead. Katie's like a kid on Christmas morning. I don't want to make her sad and tell her how that little 4-cylinder is going to struggle. Luckily it's turbocharged, so it'll be alright. Three from the top, 1 from the back. The holes line up almost perfectly. Uh-oh, I don't know if you guys could even see with the pipe in the way, huh? I'll give you a better view than I have. I think it's gonna line up. That worked out pretty well. The phone's ringing. That should be a 15. That is going to be a squeeze. Uh-oh. That's tight. Got all my bottom bolts tied. Got to put the converter bolts in. Can't get too carried away. The way I do these, I tighten the converter bolt, then I loosen it. I tighten it all the way up and then bump it loose a little bit so I can line up all 4 of them before I tighten any of them. Some of them have alignment slots on the flywheel and all. I didn't look at it. I just always do it this way, so it works for me. Of course, you got to turn the flywheel around twice, but that's all right. That's the 4th one, so now I just got to go around and tighten the other 3. Wasn't so bad. I'll leave that loose till I get the cross member back in. Slide that in. Put this back. Just for insurance purposes. Uh-oh. The real question is, I've been soaking the front bulb. I've sprayed it 6 or 8 times. I want to make sure to soften some of that rust. I'm hoping it'll tighten back up. Otherwise it's going to get ugly. I'm not going to tighten this until last. It's supposed to be centered in the slot. So a certain amount of, if it goes too far one way or the other, you'll get little vibrations and stuff. So that's not good. Get the big gun. Oh my God, it's frozen again. Thanks for repairing the file, you fucked up. Uh-oh, battery's getting low. Yeah, we're still gonna try it. That is terrible. This battery 3/4 of the way charged. Uh-oh. Got that off and I have to get the snap-on breaker bar out. But this thing goes across 2 counties. I might have to lower the vehicle down, but I'm gonna try it. That's terrible news. Well, it felt like it was turning, but apparently it wasn't. So now I got a broken bolt in the radiator support. I'm gonna have to try to drill through it. So it's a little bit of a setback. It felt like it was turning, so I kept going. And I should have probably heated it up. What are you gonna do? It's water under the bridge at this point. We just have to get bigger oars and see if we can turn the ship around. It's a big old cruise ship and I only have oars, so. Whew. She's deep. We'll go a couple drill bit sizes up each time. Ooh, it's hot. I'll give you guys a tip too on these bolt extractors they sell and stuff. It won't work on that. Anyone know why? It works when a bolt breaks because the head's rusted off and you want to extract the bolt, that kind of thing. But when the bolt is jammed in there bad enough to break a bolt that big, no extractor is going to be strong enough to turn it out because the bolt wasn't. Does that make sense? So the only fix for this is to drill it all the way out and then maybe pick the threads out and run a tap in it, save it, or just put a bolt and nut in. That's probably what I'm going to do, a bolt and a nut. Putting a little cutting fluid on the drill bit every so often. That's what the smoke is. Someone's stealing a car from New York. Oh, you're really getting somewhere now. Found a hardened bolt, some washers, and a serrated flange nut. Should be good. Should be good. Alright. Yeah, back underway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Threads are boogered on this one. Someone has done some modifications.
What?
Let go. Let go. Gimme. Gimme. Whew. That's a little crazy. They want me to have it for a second. Because of that frame bolt debacle, I'm probably not going to get done before lunch, but still going to try. I think those ones were 16. The shifter cable sits lower than everything else, so I'm going to put that in first. Uh-oh. Oh, that's right, I gotta flush these lines out. I'm not gonna plug that in yet. It's gonna make a mess. I gotta get a drip pan and flush the cooler out. Make sure all that burned fluid doesn't go through the new, well, the salvage transmission. Uh-oh. Careful now. Making quite a mess. Gotta get a can of tranny flush, cooler flush, because this one's pretty nasty. Alright now, try to do this in both directions until it comes out clear. They make the fitting in between sizes of every possible hose combination I can come up with, so they always leak a little bit. What are you gonna do? Always amazes me that something as simple as this is the size of the cooler lines on 80 to 90% of the vehicles on the road, and the fitting that comes with the can doesn't fit them. So then you get a piece of rubber that you can barely squeeze onto there, and this is loose inside it. Are they doing it on purpose? I don't know. Maybe it just seems that way. I just got to clean up after myself and carry on with the rest of the repair. Should have really done that while the tranny was out, but you know, you get yourself in get this done before lunch mode, and then you don't accomplish either. We learned something today. Slow down just a little bit. Don't worry about deadlines. Alright, there's a lot of studs in there, so this has got to go on. A couple of them. Hey now. Now it's on there. I'm going to use the serrated nut on the ground wire because I think that's more important than the other one, which just holds a bracket for the harness. How do you like that? You get a pickle tight and one for the bracket. Those are about 13s. Yep. Give me that socket back. I don't have enough of those to leave one on every bolt. And then my line. Got my little lock clip on the shifter. See? Didn't believe me, did you? Right there. What else I got from the top? Got my cooler lines in. My little clip caps on. I think I've mentioned before, if you haven't seen these little plastic clips. They're a good indicator that the metal spring is fully engaged on the line. That's why, you know, people don't think they serve a purpose. Yeah, they keep a little bit of dirt out, but they mainly let me know that I've got that clip snapped in all the way. Because if the clip isn't relaxed because the line went past it, these plastic covers won't snap on. So that's the main reason I like to put them on. Plus, that's where they go. We're ready for a battery tray. Don't forget it, the one under the fuse box. That's a long bolt. What the heck is this for? Oh, that's the, I think that's the custom battery hold down. We gotta get our little dealer use only. We gotta get our little fake dipstick and make sure there's no fluid in it. And then we'll start filling it up. We got a whole case of the proper transmission fluid for this thing. Got some of the finest ATF +4 for Chrysler vehicles. We're gonna go ahead and put 4 quarts in and see where it's at. Oh, you know what? I wonder if they took the filter off. Let's check that before we dump all the fluid in. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pan off before I go to lunch. Oh, I wonder if they wouldn't take the side cover off, right? It's all full of fluid though. I bet you it came out of here. And they did loosen the pan and they like to take the filter off to make sure you're gonna put one in. I'm just gonna pull it off, assume there's not one in there, and they ordered me one. And we're gonna do it right after I get something to eat. I'm hungry. All right, got a new filter. I got the pan cleaned up a little bit. I couldn't resist. I had to pop the pan off real quick while I put you guys on charge before I went and ate. Figured maybe I'll drip on my head a little less after lunch. And my plan seems to have come to fruition. A lot of noise over there. A lot of noise. Silicone, that's all it needs. You don't need no gasket. I want to go close, but I don't want to tighten it yet because I don't have all my bolts in. Just want to snug it up so it doesn't break the seal. I don't like to let that silicone seal release once I've snugged it up on there. Now, luckily, we looked at this because the salvage yard had broken the seal on the pan to drain the transmission. They didn't take the filter out of this one, so it would have worked, but it would have leaked. Yeah, just the right amount of bolts too. That worked out. All right, I'm gonna let that set up about 20 minutes before I put the tranny fluid in. Be that way if you want. You'd rather wash from there, that's fine.
Not done show and tell and put it in the grass.
Fairly new Ford Escape, we think it needs an engine. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. Paul said that this is a James Bond Ford Escape, and it's on smokescreen setting. That's a bummer. All right, I put 4 quarts in there, and I'm sure it's going to need more. But I had raviolis and meatballs for lunch. I gotta say, my wife makes good ravioli and meatballs. Let's fire this thing up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to program something. Got a cracked windshield too. Runs a little rough, had a little engine noise. Yeah, it's all right. 128,000 miles. You know. Uh-oh. Doesn't go into gear yet. Let's check the fluid. I probably got to add a few more quarts of fluid. All right. Let's check that fluid level now. Take the old makeshift dipstick here. Feel it touches a little bracket in there. You feel it touch. Oh, it still needs more. All right. I have just the thing for that. I got a whole case of oil. We'll put in as many as we need. Back here. I think I'm going to put a second one in. It wasn't anything on that dipstick, but I'll be taking a risk if I do. I don't know. Okay, we'll let the funnel settle a second. Take a look at the fluid first. Let's not guess. The only thing worse than putting more fluid in is having to take fluid out. I hate that. See, I told you it's gonna need more. Keep repeating this process till we get the fluid right. I'm anxious to see if it goes into gear yet. Oh, look at that. You guys see it? That's nice. That is nice. Probably could put another half a quart in there. But what I'll do is it's not hot yet, so maybe we'll take it for a drive. I gotta check for codes too, and take it for a drive, and then recheck the fluid level. When it gets hot, it'll expand a certain amount, about a half a quart or so. That's just a dust cap. Don't forget it. All right, all the ticking, I shut it off to check the engine oil, because there's a lot of ticking going on, but the oil's full and clean, like it's been changed. Whoa, whoa, easy. Noisy little window. Let's take this thing for a drive, see how she rolls, see if it goes into gear. Oh, that is nice. We got reverse, we got drive. Went into drive pretty hard though. You know what I am gonna do? Look at that. Oh, the screen on the radio is broken. The way that thing went into drive, I didn't like it. I'm gonna grab my scanner and clear the adaptives in case it's done something weird with the blown up transmission. I don't want it to hurt the, even though this is another used one, it's not as critical. I would still want to start a relearn process over again from scratch, because it was probably trying to make the last transmission work. So let's clear the adapters real quick, then we'll take it for a drive. We're going into clear learned variable pressure counters. See if it does it here. Not telling me anything. Let's go to quick learn. Engine must be running. Brake pedal must be pressed and the parking brake set. Move shift lever to drive. Shift to neutral. Quick learn procedure is in progress. Start sequence signal. Move shift lever to drive. Quick learn in process. Move shift lever to park. You can feel the vehicle jump and stuff. It's doing stuff. Quick learn complete. Now I should be able to take her for a drive and see if we get any weird codes and see how it works. This vehicle didn't feel like it was safe to drive at all before. It would jump and lurch and you hear banging and stuff like that. Hopefully it's at least better than that, right? That's a win if it is. Well, that was a short drive. I heard some kind of pop in the left front. I don't know what it was, but I'm going to look around here before we go for a drive. I turned the wheel and accelerated a little bit and it went conk conk. So something might be going on with that axle. It has the cracked boot. We'll find out if they had another problem. See if we can hear it in here. We'll turn and accelerate a little bit. Doesn't seem to mind the dirt. You turn the wheel and accelerate, it goes pop, pop, every tire rotation. I'll go over here on the asphalt and we'll try to get it to do it again. More traction on the asphalt. Holy moly. I could feel the whole left front go blank. I don't know if you guys heard that, but let's see if it does a turn right. Yeah, this thing's got a bad axle. Let me let them know that we should have done it while it was out, and see what they want to do. Won't be nothing to put it in, but you know, now the labor's done, so now I need new labor. All right, well, it's shooting metallic grease out on the tire, and yeah, this axle's we gotta change this axle. It's no longer optional. Let me let them know up front, and they wanted this today. It only take 30-40 minutes to put an axle in, but we got to get it here. So, all right, I'll be right back. Hood shocks are bad. So, luckily I got a hood prop. They warned me. They said, hey, can you put one of these in this car? Okay. 2004 Pontiac Grand Prix with an erratic oil cinder gauge. I believe I get it from underneath. I'll lift it up and take a look. Before we lift it up real quick, I wanted to say it's got 121,000 miles, which is low for a 04. And lev rating is 5. Looks pretty good. I'll probably go a little bit higher, but I see traces of cookie crumbs. Terrible. There it is. See it? Got the little green connector on it. That's what we got to get. It's also leaking oil, which is probably why it's erratic. That's usually what happens. They fill with oil and all kinds of weird stuff happens. So if I pop the electrical connector off, hopefully my socket will fit under the power steering line. That will be the interesting part. Power steering line don't look like it's doing too well either. Looks like where there's a cover on the power steering line. Looks like it's a little damp. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me know if you can see it now. See what I'm talking about? That is probably not a good thing for a long-term relationship with your power steering hose. I don't want to pry on it probably. Let's try it. Yeah. I wouldn't tell how much air is in there bouncing the tire, but it feels like a lot of air in there. I think it's gonna be a little easier to get to this with the wheel off. I was gonna try to save that a little bit of work, but it didn't have a nice flow to it, so I changed my plan. Called an audible, as they say. Bring you guys in a little closer, huh? Let's get a little more intimate. There's not enough intimacy in this world. See, it's full of oil. That's not good. That is not good. Take that! Look, the nozzle's clogged. I'm like, I just filled it up, but the nozzle's got, I don't know if there's cork floating around in that fluid, in that brake cleaner. That's pretty funny. The brake cleaner clogs my dispenser. So I gotta, about every 3 or 4 times I spray with it, I gotta take this off and clean the tip, which I drilled about 4 times the size it normally is. It sprays about the same as it comes right now, with the tip clogged. Here's the power steering line, that's cool. It's got my wobbly extension on there too. Hey, gimme. It's gonna drip a little oil. That's alright, it'll stop. Makes a little mess. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Get your new sender, throw it in there, and you're good to go. It's alright. Oil will stop dripping. There'll only be a tiny bit of a mess to clean up. It's alright. Nothing wrong with that. A day in the life, that's all. No big deal. I could get a power tool. I just don't feel like going back to my toolbox. I'm out here in the back pad because I'm waiting on an axle for the transmission job. I hope the transmission was bad too. The fluid was burned, but I never drove it. I was told to put a transmission in it, and I went to go try to drive it, and it goes pop, pop, bang, and it feels like the front end's falling out of it because that axle's so bad. And I told them when I pulled it out, the boot's torn. Do they want to change this axle? They don't have any money. So now I think we're paying for the axle. I'm not sure how that's going to all work, but All I know is it ain't going anywhere until we put an axle in it, because it can't be driven the way it is. I'm not really sure what it was doing before, but I know what it's doing now. I know it moves okay. All right, just gotta snug this up. Plug the electrical connector in, and everybody is gonna be dancing and having a party. At least I know I am. The day is almost over, but not yet. They have Bill doing alternators and brakes today, and Paul was doing diagnostics, and because I was doing the transmission, it had to be done today. And if I don't get an axle in it within about 20 minutes, it won't be. So, well, you guys know the deal. I don't make the rules. I just play by them. That's all I can do. When you go out on the lake fishing with everybody, and everyone's got their own oars, you can't be paddling other people's boats, right? That's right, you can't. You want these pretty snug, but not crazy. Probably something like a drain plug, I would guess. That makes sense. Should be good. Come on. Do it! I gotta clean that off some more. It's still a little messy in there. Can't have that. No need for this anymore. I wonder why that Silverado's up there running. It's been like an hour. It's been running. Let's grab the torque wrench. What do you say? You wouldn't think you'd be torquing wheels for an oil cylinder repair, would you? Oil's clean and full. Let's see how the gauge works. It's interesting. Doesn't have an oil pressure gauge. Got temperature, fuel, speed, and engine. I wonder if the oil light was coming on intermittently? I don't know. They told me put a sending unit in this. Customer said their oil gauge is erratic. The gauge is definitely working good. Let's go see if there's anything else to do, or if the axle might have got here yet. You guys do brakes? You throw the brake pads on the floor? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little aggravated right now, but that doesn't really sit well with me. Throwing brake. I picked up like 4 or 5 pairs of brake pads over here before I pulled this car in. There's one of them, I kicked it out of the way, and then I decided to pick them up instead. I don't get it. Yeah. Okay, let's go see if there's something else to do before I get too more aggravated. Some of this might look familiar. Yes, Bill.
Crazy question.
Sure.
Grand Prix, you put an oil sending unit in.
I wonder if my new AutoZone Duralast Gold axle comes with a new nut. Cause this nut ain't that great. 21 millimeter. We'll pull a strut back out of there again. I find that's the easiest way to get these axles out. I'm gonna take the caliper out of the way too, because that helps fit it out as well. It all has a familiar vibe to it. If you want me to get a 21 swivel, then you shall have a 21 swivel. I'm a conformist. I'm easy going, God. Come on. I'll adapt. Ooh, high performance. Where's my orange hooker doodle? Out. Watch your hand. That was easy. Throw that on the floor. It'll be in safekeeping. And I guess I got to get my air hammer again because there's not a lot of room to swing my hammer in here. But we could try it since I just had them out.
Hey Riley, put that thing around the back for Joe's if I want to light it.
Ha! I'm gonna have to go get my air hammer. I only nick my finger a little bit. That's fine. That is what I would call a win. pull this ABS out of here too, so it doesn't snap. After all this work, we don't want to snap an ABS wire. Then you get yelled at. You worked on my car and broke it. One of the bad things about this, I could never even drive this car before. And I'm thinking back too, I'm like, I remember when I was pulling it in saying, man, this thing's clunking and banging. No turning back now. Where's that pry bar at? Now, I just had it out of there. So it shouldn't be a problem. Let's see. We got a little drip pan under there. Alright. Look at this new axle, huh? Part number CH8232. China 8232, I'm guessing. I don't know. It's brand new. It's like $38. I'm real careful that I didn't board its axle seal. Once the splines are engaged, they're good. And you can be a little more aggressive. Come. Alright, trying to turn the, I gotta go turn the right front wheel to straighten it up with the strut, because the strut plate's so rusty I can't hardly turn it. Since the bolt splines into the strut, you just want to hold the bolt, don't spin the bolt in because you'll ruin that knurling on the bolt. It's designed to lock in. These are non-adjustable camber bolts. Sometimes you can get 1/10 or 2/10 of a degree, but for the most part you got to change them if you want to adjust camber. So they hold their settings pretty reliably. I'm just going to throw the brakes in here real quick. We'll take her for a drive and see if our problem is gone once I torque this axle nut, of course. Then we're just going to finish putting this together real quick. And we're going to get the phone too. The phone's ringing. You already put the axle in? Yeah. I like how Snap-on came out with their own version of the Icon torque wrench now. Except $700. Okay, the goal now is going to be to make it out of the parking lot. Look at that traffic though. I'm not going out in that. We'll take it for a longer drive in the morning. I'm going to go down this back road, make sure it shifts. That's second gear already right there, so that's good. Make sure it shifts through a few gears today. I double checked the fluid level. I added another ½ a quart. Mostly because when I pulled the axle out, not a drop of fluid dripped out of that axle hole, and that's usually right around where the level is, at the bottom of the axle. So I knew it needed about a ½ a quart more at least. And after we drive it, of course, we'll have to check it again just to be sure. And it's shifting good. Alright, I feel pretty good now. It's shifting, everything's good. There's no clunk and pop and bang when you try to accelerate. That axle, I think that joint was coming apart and it was trying to push itself out of the cup. But the good news is, it's fixed now, it's running good. They're gonna drive back to Massachusetts. They're here on vacation. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. The support the channel has had has been amazing. So I hope you'll torque the like button, maybe subscribe. If you do all those things, that'll be awesome, because I'll get to see you in the next video, because you're awesome.